What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new episode of the Eagles Top Podcast. Man, it feels like it's been forever since we put out an episode for y'all. But before we get into it, though, we got some interesting stuff to talk about. If you guys are new, make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out the network. It's in the pinned comment or in the description down below. Well, that being said, let's just kind of hop right into it. So, with the offseason kind of underway, first thoughts on that so far?
Honestly, my thoughts are that we did find some suitable replacements for the players we lost. With Reed Blankenship at safety. Then we got another safety in free agency, which is fine. I don't mind that. We got good depth for linebacker. Cornerback, we're building up depth with that, so we're good with that. I feel like we're gonna be fine. We're definitely gonna be fine.
I mean, it's crazy because, people are gonna say, "Oh, you're not gonna keep retaining the players that you have." How did you work this fucking magic, though? It's very surprising the fact that he actually had the ability to keep the players that we got, especially James Bradbury and Slay both got cheap extensions.
He kept your core four. Kept your core four, which is Brendan Graham, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox.
And we'll get to Lane Johnson in just a second
he kept the core four. He also kept the cornerback core intact with James Bradbury and Darius Slay, big play Slay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He kept those two around. The only problems that we really had was linebackers, safeties, and probably maybe one or two defensive linemen.
But I mean, how is always going to find a way to bring the people in there. So, like I said, it's not really the end of the world, but what's good, Daniel? What up, Chad? Speaking with Slay and Bradbury, though, we'll get to, we talked about this, other individual that, even though we kind of give our second thoughts on, but regardless, getting Bradbury back was, when we saw that he got his section, it's like, what?
That was key. That was key, in my opinion, because we needed to get, it was either re-sign CJ or re-sign Bradbury. We re-signed Bradbury, let CJ walk. Well, CJ screwed that up himself, but he still walked. We kept the right guy in Bradbury. He's only 25.
But actually entering, 20. He's going to be entering his age 29 season. So,
oh wait, I thought he was 25. All right, why don't I keep screwing him up? But he's still in his 20s. He hasn't hit the wrong side of 30 yet.
Yeah,
so he's still going to be good for a few years.
Oh, absolutely. And the way that
so that was key to resign Bradbury for sure.
And the thing with Slay is too, like the fact that say, "Oh, we're going to release him." Originally, I've reacted in a weird way, but then again, we've seen this once before, especially with Fletcher Cox before, and how everybody fucking flipped over that.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know really what went on with that. The whole Darius Slay thing. It was like 1 hour, he's cut from the team, he's released.
And he comes back.
I had already accepted the fact that he was leaving. Okay, he's gone. He's on the wrong side of 30. He regressed slightly. I was like in my acceptance mode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He regressed that second half. Don't know if he's going to be the same player. I take that all back, for one, and for two, within like 3 hours later of me accepting that he was gone, he's back with the team. I go, what happened in the span of 3 hours? I accepted the fact that he was gone.
As much as we gave shit how bad he has been over the last handful of years, but he knows how to give you at least a heart attack every once in a while.
He played with my emotions last year with Fletcher Cox. He plays my emotions again with Darius Slay. But I'm like, Howie, stop giving your freaking fans heart attacks.
But I mean, and we think about it too, and especially and Terrell Edmonds too, who we actually picked up from the Steelers too. He's only 25, so he could be potentially could be a complimentary piece
I feel
to
like
Reed
people are like,
Blankenship.
oh, he couldn't. A lot of fans are complaining, oh, he can't play linebacker, he can't do this, he can't do that. He did not. If you looked at the game tape with the Steelers, you can tell he did not fit that scheme at all.
I'm sorry, he's 26 actually.
Huh?
Actually, he's 26. He's 6'1", 216 pounds for a safety.
Yeah, he's a good sized linebacker. But here's the thing: he did not fit that scheme in Pittsburgh at all.
So I mean,
and you could tell. You could tell. A lot of players that don't fit the scheme, they come here and they're fine. There's a lot of guys. He's a bum. I don't know why we signed him, and then we signed him, and he shocked the world.
Yeah, but think about it too. Obviously, spent 4 seasons with Pittsburgh. Obviously, the former first-round pick. But think about it as a safety, though, which is mostly his primary position. Had 395 total tackles, even 4 sacks.
Excuse me, he was a safety. Never mind. Excuse me. I said linebacker.
But he has 1 fumble recovery, 5 picks, 24 pass deflections. So basically, he's pretty much looks like from what's looking like he's definitely going to be the outside piece to Reed Blankenship by the looks of it.
It's going to be him and Blankenship, which I like that move because like you said, he's a young guy. We don't have to worry about age or health or anything like that. He's young and he's still developing his game. So just like Reed Blankenship, he's young, developing his game, even though last year there was barely any development that needed to be done.
I mean,
like at all. So I don't know how much.
I'm going to say this too, especially with Deshaun Desai and what we read about, and what the kind of scheme he's going to be running. I really do think this defense. I think it's going to get a lot better. Now, are we going to reach 70 sacks? Probably not. I think that's going to be a hard thing to replicate. But I do think in the secondary, I think we're going to be so much better in the secondary, especially with Sean Desai. Like we talked about, he can do variations of cover 3, cover 2, cover 4. He'll disguise some blitzes like a 4 to 5 man rush. Like the dude could do everything.
Man, like we said on our last Eagles Talk podcast, this man, he ran man coverages, but he also blitzed at the same time before. And he's done that before, which is going to confuse the living hell out of offenses.
And
they don't know what's coming.
And it's funny how Bears fans. Well, sorry, Goalie, we'll have to call your ass out. It's funny how Bears fans don't like him, regardless of the fact that in 2021 they were 4th in the league in sacks. Like, how do you fucking hate this man who gave your team?
It could be coverages. It could be coverages.
Probably. Then again, though, Bears didn't have really much to work with.
Because a lot of these defenses now play zone, and zone is basically prevent defense without blitzes. That's why they incorporate blitzes into those coverages because. They're making quarterbacks rush passes. If you don't make a quarterback rush a pass against zone, he's going to carve you up.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't matter who you are.
But the fact that, and you got to give a credit where credit's due to Desai. He didn't really have much to work with because look at the Bears teams outside of 2018. They really have.
You got to look at it this way: their defense was fine. It's just that the offense couldn't stay on the field, which caused the defense to get gassed a lot.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But knowing that, especially with bringing Sean...
The problem isn't Desai or his coverages or his defense. The problem is...
Oh, somebody's calling you.
Hold on. It's my mom. Let me pause.
What up, AJ? But yeah, so good point by Tyler too. I'm interested in what Sean Desai really brings to the table, especially with the kind of talent that we still have on that part of that secondary in the defense. I mean, doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Sorry,
AJ.
Guys. That was my mom. That was calling me.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, and think about it too, look at the coaching staff he's going to have behind him. We got guys that are familiar with, because I've been seeing Sean Bradley could be our second stringer. I say second to third stringer, and he's also familiar with their Temple's defensive coordinator. So we got two guys from Temple, Bradley and Hassan Reddick, who are very familiar with DJ Elliott, who was the defensive coordinator for Temple, who I'm very intrigued, and let's be real, thank God that, because it's funny. Speaking of the defensive, the cornerback, or was he? No, not defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. The fact that say, "Oh, we're gonna get," or Matt Patricia's like, what the fuck you smoking? But finally, like,
dude, everyone on Twitter, everyone on Facebook, everyone on it was literally mainly on Twitter though.
Yes,
everyone is. We have a partnership with SeatGeek and Fanatics, but everyone was panicking on Twitter. Oh, if they get Matt Patricia, the season's over, and all this other stuff, and I was freaking out, and it was.
But the fact that we avoid the fact we actually got someone who actually knows how to work with linebackers is fantastic. Now, granted, yes, it's college level, but if he knows how to work with linebackers, no matter what the case may be, I think overall, I mean, think about it. You got Nakobe Dean, Sean Bradley, who's familiar with him. You have. And can work with other guys part of that mid secondary.
Yeah, but you got to think too. Matt Patricia had beef with Darius Slay. That was the main issue.
Yeah, that's reason. So
because if we had hired Matt Patricia before we signed, if we got Matt Patricia before we signed not CJ but Darius Slay, Slay's gone.
Oh yeah,
I don't want nothing to do with Matt Patricia. So that's why everybody was panicking, because this was before Darius Slay got re-signed.
Yeah,
this was maybe like an hour or two before.
Yeah, because I think this
and they were already in talks to re-sign Slay, and I'm oh no! If they get Matt Patricia, it's over.
Say goodbye to Slay, basically.
But say goodbye to Slay.
But think if knowing that how we actually knew what's at stake, honestly. Make the right call of actually getting someone actually has an experience of working with linebackers. Another thing I want to kind of talk about, Marcus Mariota. How about deja vu the last 8? It's been 8,
bro. We are really taking it to Chip Kelly right now,
dude.
With that signing, bro.
It really is.
This was like the last laugh of like Chip Kelly that I've ever seen in my life. It was really petty as hell, Howie. You're still petty. Damn, I love this dude.
Like it.
But honestly, realistically though, he's a solid backup. So I'm not. He's better than Minshew. I'll tell you that much.
And good point too. And also think of this too. If, like I said, knock on wood, if Hurts doesn't get hurt, this system could also fit to Marcus Mariota's scheme.
Yeah, you got to think of it too. That was the reason why, lo and behold, Chip Kelly, of all people, wanted him.
Dude, he wanted to offer up a shit ton for him
because he knew in Oregon, because he was in Oregon. Mm-hmm. They basically ran the same freaking scheme.
Yeah,
that West Coast offense style.
What's good, Mary?
Which is what the Eagles have.
Absolutely.
And it's more of like a collegiate style if you look at it. Like on like the field.
Oh yeah.
It's more like a collegiate type of style because you have RPOs and integrated into this offense. The West Coast offense looks kind of like what you see in college ball.
And I think I think Hurts knows that. I mean, is very familiar with it.
He's very familiar with. That's why Jalen Hurts was able to develop as quick as he did.
And the fact that an MVP runner-up might I add too, but that's here nor there.
He would have won it if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, injuries happen all the time. I mean, there's really nothing you can really make.
Yeah, injuries happen. I knew he was losing as soon as he went down. I'm like, he ain't winning it because you need to have enough games to beat out your opponent.
Oh yeah,
that was the reason. That's the reason why he lost. Which I'm not upset about. I'm not upset about MVP. So. Nah.
Like it's just like good. And another thing is too is like if you like knowing that I mean I've seen quarterbacks who win MVP but don't win the Super Bowl though. Like does it really? I feel like that kind of is meaningless a lot of times. That's a regular season award. most times than not. But that's here nor there, though. But still, I gotta get props to Jalen Hurts becoming. Let's be real, like what we because it's funny looking back at it. Not this past season though. I pretty much ate my words because I was one of those people say, he's got to show me he can lead this team to the promised land.
Here's what makes me, kind of feel bad for Jalen is that in 2020 when he got drafted, I was one of the people that hated the pick.
Hey, you and me both, man. I was like, what are we doing?
Now I absolutely love the pick.
It's
3 years later.
It takes over time. It's like, at face value, I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
I'm like, we already have because we were the delusional idiots thinking that Carson Wentz was still the guy.
Yeah, and
before that season. Because this was 2020 before that season. He had led us to the playoffs the year before. We were delusional as hell thinking Carson Wentz was still the damn guy. We got pissed off that they drafted Jalen Hurts. Thinking, I can't believe that Carson Wentz got Brett Favre just now. and I mean, he still got Brett Favre, but he was just bad. That's why he got Brett Favre.
But I mean, crazy things have really worked out, and NFL history is one crazy timeline over the years.
Yeah,
but looking at like so far though, man, I couldn't even, and that's just that too. Hurts has been down for most of his life though, in terms of especially on the football field.
Doubted since high school.
That's just like,
and this man every single time, I'm proving you wrong, proves him wrong. College, I'm proving you wrong, proves him wrong. I'm proving you wrong in freaking the NFL, proves him wrong last year. And this man is him, dude.
It's and not to mention this too, though. I mean, the last couple of years, though, it's like you ever get his good personal best friend that's AJ Brown. So, and unfortunately, that's funny as in its own right. After he has that game against the Tennessee Titans, like 15 minutes later, their GM gets fired. It's like, oh, that is so poetic justice I ever saw. Oh man, that's
here's a topic. I'm just reading in the chat. Here's another topic that I want to talk about. Bijan Robinson. Do you think he has the hype? Do you think he's worth it?
As a 10 pick, no. I've said this on the NFL Talk podcast a couple of days ago, where I think Bijan Robinson, if you're lucky, I think he could be top 15 if you're lucky, if you're reasonable. If not, I would say he'd probably be early second rounder. I'm not just saying this to hate on him, but it's just a god. Like we've seen, first of all, it's a risk, or obviously not a risk, but also a reach taking a running back in the top 10. I mean, think about it. We've seen one team fuck with. Now, I will say it did work out for them. Was the New York Giants? Yes. Getting Saquon, I think 2nd overall or 8th overall. Don't want to take where Saquon wound up. Even though he couldn't stay healthy, but actually panned out for them, despite it was a reach.
It really did. And last year he actually stayed healthy.
Yeah.
So his health isn't really a question anymore because he proved that he can stay healthy for an entire year, and he did last year. So
and they had the numbers to show for it.
The health concerns are pretty much dead now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that the Saquon Barkley pick did actually fully pan out. So
even that face value, when you looked at the face value, they say, really?
I knew. I'm like, even when Saquon got drafted there, I saw it that night. The night he got drafted, I'm thinking this is a great pick for them because they didn't really have a great running back.
Well,
So getting Saquon was a great pick because I saw how he played that like in college at Penn State. He was a dog there.
And that's a good point too. The running back market is very cheap nowadays. Because like I said, we've seen teams, well, lack for a better term, really bite the bullet of overpaying for running backs. But regardless, I mean, there are some that, I mean, it's not like what it once was. They like look at 10, 15 years ago where, because the position has kind of like changed, like the running back position has kind of changed over time. I mean, we've seen some let's put it, exceptionally talented running backs just fizzle out and still in their primes.
It's because they're tearing their Achilles or their ACL or their knees, because nowadays they want to just shake off defenders and be
and with these jump
elusive
cuts.
with these jump cuts. Newsflash: any sudden stoppage and then you move again, sudden start again, you're going to tear your ACL.
I mean, look at Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry
did it.
I mean, Derrick Henry has not been himself the last couple of years, and it's
Derrick Henry's losing steam. Ezekiel Elliott's lost a bit of steam.
And not just from like the injury perspective.
I don't even know why the Eagles fans are want to entertain to get this guy.
It's most likely, but that's another story for another day. But and another thing too, I mean, he also had guys like Barry Sanders who retired because of ineptitude ownership.
That's what, but that's different. That's different. That's ownership. Ownership sucked. It still sucked for Detroit.
But regardless, like I said, I really do like what we have in terms of the running backs. Kenny Gainwell.
Oh, I like that too.
Boston Scott and let's be real, can't wait to see him just torture the Giants much more, because that's just I just love to see him be the bane of their existence, basically. But then again, that's
a good question, Cade. What is the gap between Bijan and the rest of the draft?
I remember, and the RB market's not as, like I said.
It's been crazy down RQ. Crazy.
It's been very underwhelming.
Yeah, it's been bad for the market.
But like I said, I really can't answer on that, because, like I said, I really have not watched a lot of Bijan Robinson, and there's been talks of Gibbs could be and Eckler wants a fucking bag too, but that's going to be another topic of discussion for another.
Here's the problem with the Chargers is the fact that they're in cap hell. They can't re-sign Eckler. They can't. There's no way he's resigning with them, because they have no cap to re-sign him. They are in cap hell.
Now, and going further on that, like I said, I know the Eagles, like I said, haven't really. I mean, got some good moves in there. I guess you're saying a very underwhelming free agency market, depending on what position you're looking at. You're knowing that, we let CJ get, like I said, like we mentioned before, CJ, he fucked himself after he was the first person to get a contract extension from. Thought he was going to get what the market was asking for, even though the safety market was actually going to be very highly paid anyways, between between 16 and 18 million a year. Jesse Bates got what he got, and knowing that in the back of the mind of CJ, I know that he's what he wanted, but then again, it's just let's bro.
It's too unrealistic for him. Yes, he had 5 picks last year. Yes, he played great last year.
It's only for 1 year, though.
Higher than what it was. Problem was, it wasn't as high as what it should have been. And for him not to realize that and sign an $8 million deal, and then for him to say this was best for my family,
it's what?
It made no sense.
That was a head scratcher. It's like, and the fact that he goes on to comes out and say, this Lions roster was better than the 2022 Eagles roster.
Bullshit!
What? Oh, Jesus Christ! I just read that saying, dude, what are you smoking? Dude, quarterback, let's be real.
We had won 13 games last year. They won 9. They won freaking 9, dude.
And look at like you're the offensive line over Detroit's not as great as ours by any stretch. I mean, quarterback play.
Honestly, I feel like it'll be different. It won't be like fully deja vu. It won't be the same as us getting DeMarco Murray in 2015, which sucked because we got him. Ooh. He didn't even fit our goddamn scheme because we were trying to use him as an east-west runner. He's a north-south runner. We were using him to go left and right. He needs to go straight.
Yeah, and I think that's but like I said, we'll see. But I think it's most likely Zeke's definitely going to go to the Bengals if they don't decide to bring back Joe Mixon, which
Yeah,
could be
I would think that they would have to, but
and first of all,
honestly, that would be a bad move for the Bengals because they got older. Joe Mixon's a
yeah,
bit
that
younger
is.
than I think Joe Mixon's a bit younger than Zeke. I think.
Let me. Mixon's 26.
All right, how old is Zeke?
God, if I can. Zeke is 27.
So he's only a tad. He's only a tad bit
It's only about a
older,
year older, but hey,
but he's not. But he's not the same guy. Joe Mixon, you can get a lot of good runs out of him.
but like I said, we'll talk.
Lions are winning the NFC North. I'm calling it.
It's
Honestly, the North's wide the fuck open now.
I mean, you have two teams that could battle it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even be shocked either. You know, the North is wide open now.
Because I said this is not like a hot take. I think the Bears are finishing second in that division of the kind of the moves that they have made because of that.
And if the trade goes through with the Packers, if the trade goes through, where Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, they're not going to win any. They're not going to win more than maybe 5-6 games.
And not to mention, they're already quickly giving up on Jordan Love, who they have been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for the last 3 years. It's like the Packers have been, well, like I said, we'll talk more than on the NFL Talk podcast because let's be real, I have to really want to talk more in depth on the Packers because that's a really.
But here's the thing: they're not really giving up on Jordan Love. They were trying to have him study Rodgers, study his game. The problem was Rodgers wasn't willing to let go of the starting job. He wasn't willing to let go. And
good point.
He turned into another Brett Favre.
Yeah, and then
not willing to let go of the starting job, not willing to teach the young guy.
I mean let's be real. That was an ugly situation in its own right when Rodgers entered the league. It's kind of, in a way, I think it's kind of come full circle if you think about it. The last what's it been? He was in 2005. Was it 2023? The last 18 years? Holy shit! I'm getting fucking old just thinking about that.
His first start was, I think, 08 was his first start.
Yeah, and
06, 07, or 08, one of those years. Or no, it was 06 because that fake ass retirement. That fake ass retirement that goddamn Brett Favre did.
And going back to that too. It's kind of funny to note that Rodgers is pulling the exact same. Well, I'm saying not the fake retirement, but kind of following the same footsteps in a way. But that's here in North. That's going to be like another topic for another discussion. But the way that of Howie has, I mean, let's put the dude. Howie's a fucking wizard. Like no matter it's just like okay, if he looks at the payroll, say okay, we don't have no caps.
The bro had no cap, and now he has like 14 million. I'm like, how the hell do you do that quick?
And speaking with Lane Johnson, though, he did get 1 year extension, but that's still with him dwindling down, we could probably have 20 plus million in cap space before the season starts. So we gotta have more money to spend.
Like what the fuck?
Like as much as, like I said, I know it's kind of ironic that over the years we gave Howie a lot of shit for no goddamn reason. Well, obviously for bad drafting, but that's besides the point. But the dude's a fucking cap wizard, for crying out loud. Like, I mean, we got draft picks for days. I would not be surprised if he's somehow we'll finally make trades because we have 12 draft picks, and that's including the compensatory picks from losing our free agents the all season. So that's kind of helped us a lot. The fact that even Lane Johnson too, as much as I'm going to give him a lot of credit though, not giving up a sack in 2 seasons so far in his 10-year career as a longtime Philadelphia Eagle. And then he brought back Brandon Graham. I'm thinking to myself, man, coming off that Achilles tear, it's like, I'm thinking to myself, man, we had to, I don't know. I don't know where my thought process was with that. But speaking with Howie and the draft picks, do you think Howie's going to keep that pick number 10, or is he going to find a way to get more value out of that?
He's fleecing somebody.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
he's fleecing somebody. I can see it happening.
I mean, the dude's pulled off Ivory Robert. We get CJ, and unfortunately, we kind of dealt with his character issues, but that's besides the point.
The goddamn Titans last year in the draft.
And think about it. And going back to what I said earlier, when AJ Brown had that, let's be real, the best game he's played as an Eagle. 15 minutes later, we've seen the Titans GM gets fired. That's like,
he gets fired. Yeah, he literally got fired right after the game.
And think about this too. Since having AJ Brown leaving Tennessee, man, that team has been in shambles ever since.
They've been a shit show,
and that's sad. I mean, for a team
5-2 this year, and then they went 7-10.
Oh boy, that was
they were a shit show.
And that's the thing too. Is like knowing that, training camp doesn't start till probably July, like somewhere in July, the OTAs.
Yeah, it's more like I think it's like more like the end of July into August.
Okay.
And then August is preseason, then September the season starts.
But yeah, I think we gave Terrell Emmons a cheap 1-year deal. I think it's kind of like the same value as what we got out of or what CJ's gotten. But knowing that we might go like a 2 high safety, depending on where does Desai wants to go with that, or if he goes to single high safety, 2 high safety. If he goes to 2 high safety and kind of if he does those variations of cover 2, cover 3, cover 4 with some man coverage, throw some blitzes in there. Good Lord, that's gonna be fucking scary. I'm sorry.
It will be fucking scary. Like I looked at like how he did his defensive teams. This man scares me with the schemes. Because if I was quarterback, you don't know what's going to hit you.
Nah.
You don't know what's going to hit you. Because you could be playing man coverage, 2 high safety, or any of these defensive schemes. He's blitzing.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, man coverage, I'm probably going to have an easier time. They're not blitzing. They blitz. And you're down.
Yeah, I mean, he has the tendency to disguise blitzes in a way that you're not going to expect it. And I think that's a lot of times, too. Even in times I've seen from times to Chicago, I think the biggest thing if it's going to really work out is his adjustments, which I've seen this man actually know how to make adjustments, whereas somebody can't make adjustments worth a fucking damn. So
he got the goddamn Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck, man? First half, he played whatever.
It was okay, but not to up to our standards.
Second half, you start playing shit. You don't make adjustments. So not play shit.
Pretty much. And it's funny too. Speaking of Howie, though, as much as him being a Cowboys, but he's a cool motherfucker too. The fact that they try to get out of Arizona as quickly, he let Cannon's ass behind. He
goes, yeah, you're not leaving. You left him in a foot. You're like, eat my dust. He's like, eat my dust, Cannon.
And it's funny, but yeah. But then again, man, it's like, when Sirianni came in like a couple years ago, it's just like, okay, I don't know what to expect out of him as being as young as be one of our younger head coaches. But now kind of seeing what he's capable of, and just getting the vibe of what he gives off.
Here's a weird stat for you. Ever since that weird plant tree thing,
oh God, that was
he's been great. What the fuck?
I like when you look back, I'm thinking to myself, dude, have you been hit the devil's lettuce one too many times?
I'm like, oh my God, this is the most hippie thing I've heard in my life.
But apparently, and ever since then, we were one of the best running teams, and I think we still are in terms of what we can put together. But like I said, with Lane Johnson, hopefully, I don't know if he's ever gotten that abductor surgery, and gotta give more credit, dude. That dude's pain tolerance is something else for Lane Johnson. First of all, he's got a torn abductor muscle, and yet played the best football.
And the funny thing is, he tore that sucker off the bone.
Yeah, and the fact that he
got surgery, and he played through the entire postseason, including the Super Bowl.
And and the fact that he shut down the best players, and He shut down fucking Nick Bosa for crying out loud in the championship game with a torn adductor muscle. Like, you cannot tell me this dude's pain tolerance. I know.
I'm telling you right now, man. He tore that sucker off the bone.
Yeah.
Had to have surgery, and he played at a high level through 3 games. And like you said, slung Nick Bosa with a torn muscle.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy too, though. It's not crazy though, but I'm really I'm going to say this too. Despite not winning the Super Bowl, I'm still kind of proud of our fucking guys, man. You know, Hurts. As much as I know it's kind of ironic 3 years ago that we kind of say, ask ourselves, what the fuck are we doing as a franchise? Knowing that we have him as our franchise quarterback, knowing after the Carson Wentz bullshit went down, and the fact that, and actually rectify, or exactly what rectify of what. Oh, hey, that is true. Kurt, that's really. But yeah, I can see that for sure. But going back to what I said, the fact that Howie, if he somehow finds a really good prospect in this draft class, no matter what, I think most likely wherever.
Oh yeah, that's right, damn. He got that Kurt Angle in him.
Yeah, I don't. It is.
And you know who Lane Johnson has in him? That Stone Cold Steve Austin in him. Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. But looking at the future, I mean, I'm going to look. I know we got some guys that are on the older side of things, but then again, though, how is going to find a way to get some really good young players in this building? Going to the NovaCare complex, and you can get at least three good years. I mean, if you get 3 good years out of Bradbury, that's a really good signing in its own right. And if you can still, for the love of God, if Slay can actually fix his shit, mostly in the second half.
He needs to just like fix that second half. Do whatever he did in that first half. But I feel like the problem with his diminished play was Gannon. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, scheme wise, but I think
scheme wise, he wasn't doing a lot because he wasn't able to do a lot because of Gannon.
Yeah, and knowing that we have a guy in Desai, who can mix and match different schemes, and if he can get the prime Darius Slay, that secondary is gonna be fucking disgusting. And then you got Blackburn on the outside as your number 2, and you got I mean the fact that you can also have Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Hassan Reddick,
the one guy that absolutely
Josh Sweat
scared, dude. The 2 guys that absolutely freaking scare me off the line, the way they get off they get off that offensive lineman and they run to the quarterback. Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat.
Like it's
they get off the line. You have Jordan Davis pulling a freaking blind side, dragging the goddamn offensive line.
And the fact that we're gonna have a good ton of and look, yes, losing Hargrave sting. Oh yeah, that's gonna sting for sure. But then again, we knew that we weren't going to resign him because his market was going to worth
we were going to lose a defensive lineman regardless.
But the
we
fact
were thinking it was going to be Cox via retirement. So now,
and I would have been upset if he actually retired because I mean he's done.
I would have been upset too because he played at a high level through his whole career. He's done more than enough to be a Hall of Famer. But we lost Hargrave,
and no one looked at this.
But hold on. But we can replace him with Jordan Davis.
And it's got Milton Williams already on that part of that front seven.
And Milton Williams.
The depth is work is going to come into play, and we might not. It's going to sting a little bit, but that's going to really reduce in the sting a little bit because we have a guy. We have the next guy up, and I think
this is how we failed at in 2017, which he actually rectified this time around.
And I think not just that too, Tyler.
It's the fact that he had no depth to work with in 2018
because he pretty much put all of his eggs in one basket, and unfortunately, we had to suffer for that for the last before of last year. But going back to Howie though, I mean, not just that mistake, but he's actually rectified, of cutting, dead weights that is JD Arthego-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor at the same time, which was fantastic. He rectified that and got better stuff in return because of that.
Where's Arthego-Whiteside been? I have no clue.
Probably out of
the league for all I care.
And Reagor, well, who the fuck knows?
Reagor got re-signed to no, he didn't. Reagor's not even on team. That was what's his face that I'm thinking of.
Oh,
I'm thinking of the defensive side of the ball. I'm thinking Jalen Mills for some reason.
Oh yeah, Mills, yeah. But regardless,
Reagor played for the Raiders, and then he was somewhere
Vikings
else.
Actually.
Vikings.
We traded him to the Vikings for the team that we got laughed at for passing up on Justin Jefferson.
Dude,
it's like irony is
he even sucked for them.
I was like, man, the fact that we got some it's ironic how that came full circle. We pass up on Justin Jefferson. We get laughed at by the Vikings. Trade his ass to the Vikings. He stunk it up. I mean, especially the postseason where the fact that he had a couple more punts as the Vikings, don't change a thing. But it's
most of the damn punt then the game was hilarious.
And it's like, and this is where I think Howie has kind of grown over the last few years as a GM. Actually admitted, I made my mistakes, sure. And the fact that he rectified it, like I said, getting rid of Arthego-Whiteside, Reagor, and like you said, and he actually now has something depth to work with. Since we lost Hargrave, we have a couple guys. We're actually finally going to take the red shirts off and actually let them play and develop, which we've been waiting for. But either way, Howie's done a really good job. The last 2-3 years at this point. Now gotta wait to see how the draft goes. But it's somehow how we can get some really good value out of some of these draft picks. And finally get and guys that I wouldn't say we really need, but in a way, kind of help replenish the depth part of things. I want to be opposed to that. I mean, it's like how much longer are you going to have Fletcher Cox for another year? Jason Kelce, we know the fact he even said, the fact he even Kelce said himself, I'm not fucking done. It's like I was like, damn.
He pulled a Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't fucking leaving.
Yeah. And the fact that that one little clip with him and Howie just sharing a drink together, that was just fucking hilarious.
He's like, dude, why are you pouring that much? He goes, you're bigger than I am.
As much as I know, it's like this team though, and it's like for as long as as long as we had some good, the bad, and the downright ugly moments of this franchise, yes, and have some real good players come through it as well. Brian Dawkins, Westbrook, underrated for me. Sheldon Brown in 2007. So God, oh Jesus.
He killed the man.
I'm sorry. I think Reggie Bush has not been the same after that.
Killed the man. It was Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush died for like a second and came back to life a second later.
That Jim Johnson defense, man, they were ruthless.
Bro, Jim Johnson made them freaking dangerous as hell, dude. I don't even know why that team never won a championship.
That or at least could have had two under Andy Reid with that. If you think, or no, I'm sorry.
Bro, they got screwed. They got screwed over in 2008. They got screwed over in 2005.
On a
2005 season.
Yeah, and it's like, looking back at it to say, do I miss Andy Reid over here sometimes? Yeah, sure, I do. For sure. And shout out to the $2 super chat. Well, knowing that Hurts has one more year left on his contract, I think he's going to find a way to, because what's Daniel Jones getting? Like 35 plus, or that's incentive going into 35 in incentives.
Yeah, I think it's 35.
But knowing that the market for Hurts is about over 44 million, I think he's going to find a way to take less than that, because, knowing that if this happens again, I think Hurts is going to find a way to help out and give him some cap space to work with. And I think Hurst is one of those kind of guys. Like I don't see like he wants to take. I mean, look, does he deserve to get the bag? Sure. But I think knowing that his mindset, and you can see it every time in the press conferences, like he doesn't really care about how much money he's getting. The fact that he was the only second round pick, now have a 5th-year option. People, and like we talked about, doubted this man for years. And I know, like I said, me and Tyra, we hold our hands up and actually look like complete idiots for saying, like, what the fuck are we doing in 2020?
You rectified everything we're sorry.
We barely, jeez, hurts.
Yeah, we're sorry. And the thing is, prior to 2017, we dogged this man. Why'd you give your job up to goddamn Chip Kelly?
Oh, yeah.
Why did this happen in 2012? We were like, why don't we have a championship yet? And then 2017, lights a fire under his ass.
I mean, the fact that he pulls a mid-season trade with the Dolphins to bring in Jay Ajayi for, I don't think what we gave up for that. I think like a 7th-round pick or something like that. And he balls out. We had like I think it was 6th or 7th round, but regardless, Jay Ajayi balls out for us after leaving Miami. I mean, we had
balls the fuck out.
Yeah.
That we had.
Yeah. Alshon Jeffrey. We had some because at the time me and Tyler really didn't think it's like, we might not what's the word? May not like bite the salary cap bullet. Boy, yeah. We took a reality check on that one.
We did not. Put it this way: we did not rectify that situation until not this past season, but last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
It took us until last season to rectify that cap issue, and to have a quality winning team out there on that field.
And the fact that we still, in a way, still kept our core players out, like I said, outside of Brandon Graham. And what did we just lose one guy, about two guys in free agency off our team? TJ Edwards and CJ. And no, three actually.
We lost TJ, Sayamalu, who that wasn't a big loss.
I mean, because we could definitely upgrade over him. So, but I mean, either way, I'm definitely going to miss Sayamalu.
We lost Kaiser White.
Yeah.
That was a big loss. Kaiser White, that was a heavy hitter. We lost maybe like a few defensive linemen that really didn't matter.
Yeah, it's just but the fact that we still kept a good portion of our free agents, we had
we kept a good portion. We kept
the core. Look at
we kept the two big cornerbacks we couldn't afford to lose.
Oh yeah, because that if you lose one of them, you're probably. Then again, though,
we kept the core four. Kept the core four.
Absolutely.
Which that was a big need.
And because think about this dude, Tyler. It's funny looking back at it, the fact we can how we actually pulled this off this all season compared to what he did in 2018. He had to fucking gut the entire goddamn team in order to get some money out of that. It's crazy. What's the word I'm looking for here for Howie though? Like he's kind of like a turnaround in terms of the GM spot. And I think Howie knows that like he wants it. And you could see. Him willing to try as much as he can to want to get this team better each and every year. Knowing the fact, like I say, we kept the core four. Now, would it Fudge Cost decide to retire? Sure. I mean, the dude's 32, 33, done. Like I said, what else does he need to prove? He has done a lot in his 10+ year career. Same with Brandon Graham. But the fact I'm going to give Brandon Graham a lot. The fact that he got fucking snubbed for not getting the most improved player, which is a lot of bullshit from coming off that Achilles tear. And I it's like people are like I said, knocking on wood because I've never subscribed to that. But it's like, and I'm personal athletes say, yeah, it's not an easy thing to recover from. But the fact that Brandon Graham
I don't mind losing that award to Gino, but Gino really didn't deserve it because he's been a bench warmer his entire career.
For me, if I have to say who was most deserving, it was Saquon for me. That was my guy to win the damn thing.
To me, it was either going to be Saquon or Brandon Graham. But but it ended up going to a guy who was a bench warmer his entire career, but started last year and had a monster season.
Yeah, and just watch him and that looks like that's gonna.
He didn't come. He didn't come back. He just sucked less.
Yeah. And it's funny, like people always, and not just like there's old like casual NFL fans actually pointed that out. So look, like what has he really shown? I mean, like he had one good year, and he got a decent payday this off season. But Seattle, man, like I don't know, but I think
that's like if Case Keenum won the award in 2017.
Woo! Speaking of, jeez, I felt bad for Case Keenum after we whooped his ass. I'm sorry for that. But then again, though, I mean,
that's if Case Keenum won a damn award in 2017. Just he randomly had a good season.
Oh yeah,
he didn't come back from anything. He just sucked less that 1 year.
Yeah, I mean it's like, but really looking at the state of this Eagles roster, though, I don't really think we need really much to work with, but I do think we could replenish in the depth department, which I know Howie's going to definitely do one way or the other.
I feel like he's going to do it like via the draft.
Yeah,
and
then
he's not going to trade. I mean, he did do it, to the defense to where he did it in free agency, like getting that cornerback Greedy Williams.
Yeah,
he only did that for no depth. If one of the guys got hurt, he'd be a serviceable
look at the cornerback room. Oh God, I mean, look, I don't have no issues with Zach McPherson, but I want someone who actually knows has a little bit of experience playing corner. I think Greedy. I think how we always realized too that Greedy Williams could be a number 2 guy. Either depending if he's going to be behind Bradbury or he's going to be behind Slade, depending on depending on depending on the situation. But like I said, and get whoever get in the draft though, man. Let these guys sit behind. Then once Slay and Bradbury, once their contract is up, then take the red shirt off and then develop them from there and kind of continue to do it forward. I think that's what we're doing with with Nakobe Dean. Yes, so I'm going to put him set.
That's what you got to do as a GM. You got to if you're a Super Bowl team, you're going to lose pieces.
Yeah,
you're going to lose pieces to free agency because they want bigger money because they're stars now. They want bigger money. To go to a different team to try to help another team win a championship. But that's what you got to do. You have to be a revolving door of talent. You got to be that.
Oh, absolutely.
In the league today. Howie didn't do that in 2017. He didn't have depth to work around to have, if this guy gets cut, this guy gets signed. Or actually, if this guy gets cut, this guy starts. He tried to cover up the whole Torrey Smith thing with a washed up guy. He tried to cover up with a washed up Golden Tate. He tried to cover up the defensive line issues with a washed up what's his face? Michael Bennett.
Damn. Yeah, and that was
Michael Bennett. That was terrible. Horrendous signing.
Oof, yeah.
Like he tried to get like washed up veterans to, start instead of developing younger talent to get better and better and to be a good team again. He didn't do that.
No, and we had to hit the fucking goddamn button to blow the entire team up. And to be fair, though,
we paid the freaking piper in 2020 because we blew that team up.
Yeah,
because we only won 4 games that year.
Yeah, and that was oh boy, I want to forget about that for sure. But then again, though, man, it's like really looking at this too. I think Howie, as much as like I said, we dogged on him for years prior to 2017. He did a really good job on a turnaround, though. I will have to give where credit is due.
It only lasted what, 5 years?
Yeah, we're back in the Super Bowl again in 5 seasons. Like shit.
And we were back in the big game in 5 seasons. Yeah.
And it's funny looking back.
Granted, we lost, but we made it.
Yeah. Like I was saying, because I was never.
Here's what the way I looked at it. Like here's the upside. Here's the positivity. I looked at it. Right. Look between the first Super Bowl in our lifetime that we saw, excluding 1980.
Yeah,
because we weren't alive.
No, sorry, obviously, my grandparents' days.
But But 2005 to 2017, we had made the Super Bowl in early 05 or 04. We made it in 04.
Even though it's
technically
kind of
05.
yeah.
And also 2018. It was technically 2018 that season. But 2005 to early 2018. That's a huge gap.
Yeah. And
think of how long we had to wait. Now, from 2018 to 2023, that's not a huge gap to wait.
No, like it's like, yes, I mean, we had to make some sacrifices. I mean, yes, we had to, unfortunately, let's be real, take a reality check in a way. And unfortunately, oh god, yeah, be bad as the Cincinnati Bengals. Another team, well, I would have that was yeesh. That was yikes. But like you said though, man, it's crazy. Like, and that's just like you said, the past 5 years. But look at it from, like I said, from 2000, from early 05 to 2018. Look at the different players we had to go through, or in that time, that long time frame. Like, had to go through a couple coaching changes. You know, different personnel.
Honestly, no, we didn't have we had to go through 2 coaching changes with actually 3 coaching changes.
Yeah, 3.
Because we had Andy Reid from 2000 from 99 to 2010 or 2012. So he was there from basically, since we're talking about the timeline here, from that first Super Bowl that we saw to 2012. And then from 2012 or from 2013 to 2016, it was Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
That makes me want to barf every time I say it.
But
then we go from Doug Peterson, who wins us a championship. Now 2017, he goes from that Super Bowl to 2020, gets fired in 2020. 2021, now we're with
Nick Sirianni.
And it's like Sirianni. He gets us back to Super Bowl 2 years.
In his second year.
In 2020. His second year in the league.
And it's, I mean, it's fucking, like, being a diehard Eagles fan, man, it's been not easy in certain years. But
bro, half the time, man, being an Eagles fan, it tests me.
It tests your anxiety. It tests your stress and anxiety levels. And
what? But dude, it's not as bad as being a goddamn Phillies fan, and that really tested me.
Yeah,
I was wanting to freaking front run half the time.
Yeah,
like, but years of this. But being an Eagles fan, it was like up and down, up and down, up and down, up. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, there was like a lot of peaks and valleys. There was like no consistency throughout that.
There was like a consistent like peak from 99 to 2012, and then we just hit like this huge steep fall.
Yeah, that large rock bottom until we had to, and make those changes. And and it's like,
I wanted the poop one. Right here. I wanted the poop one.
You're getting the poop one.
Oh, and you're talking. No, we're talking. This is what I'm talking about. That thing.
Oh my god.
Protect the cord, not actual poop. Don't worry.
But
I don't want actual poop. But
and it's like we went through different quarterbacks over the years. So I mean, from McNabb for most of the year, McNabb,
Vic, Bradford,
Kevin Cobb. Who remembers when he was with us for? That was that was horrible.
He didn't even last a quarter.
He
lasted one.
He didn't even last a season with us, if I'm not mistaken, too, before he shipped his ass off into Arizona. And that's funny looking back. I was really looking back at it. I mean, and think about it, with the couple. I'm trying to think. God, man, I feel like I'm getting old just remembering it. But outside of that, I mean, looking at this team, since the Doug Pearson now. I will admit I was a little bit frustrated that we fired Doug Pearson. Sure, I was a little bit irritated. I think because just looking at the face value, knowing that, I think me and Tara talked about this at one point. I actually admitted, I will admit I was a little bit irritated when Dougie P got fired. I was very irritated on that. But now we come to find out that he was like stubborn. Like his play calling was not kind of like the same, and it was kind of there were some issues going on throughout the locker room, and then again, it's like, I kind of get it though. And we got a young head coach in Nick Sirianni who's been in the league, as just from coach's perspective, a very long time. But as a head coach, though, 2 years gets back to the Super Bowl. Going to have a pretty much going to have this pretty much the same team, but in different areas, a little different personnel. But to be fair, though, I'm really doing like I said, I'm really proud of the team. Look, like I said, not one of the Super Bowl, sure, that kind of stinks. But at the end of the day, though, me and Tyler could say this too, and for a lot of Eagles fans, we got the chance to see. Let's be real, should have been 2 Super Bowls, but that's here nor there. But at least we got to see one in our lifetimes. We really did. It's like, I think we had the luxury of seeing one because I know
we had the luxury to see 3.
Technically, yeah, 3.
2004, 2017, 2022.
Could you imagine?
We saw 3 in our lives.
Yeah.
Put it this way, I was barely even 6 the first time I saw it.
Yeah. I was 7 when I remember.
And I was 18, going to be 19 the next time I saw it. Actually, I was 18, going to be 19.
I was 19 going on 20.
And then I was
you're gonna be
20. I forgot my age. I'm 23. I'm actually 24, going to be 25.
Because you were going 23 on 24. I was doing 24 and 25.
Actually, no. I'm talking about the current Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
It's technically is 2020 the next year, like early the next year, like February. My birthday's in April. So I'm 24 the next time I saw the Super Bowl with us in it.
And it's crazy enough. I feel like the older Eagles fans in the 80s and stuff, like they only got saw one. Unfortunately, we lost to the Raiders. We actually, like I said, we had the luxury to see, in the last, 20 something odd years. It had been sporadically. Now, I will admit it would be nice to actually have 3 instead of 1. But then again, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm going to say this too. I mean, you have to play your best in the postseason. You got no pushovers, not just in any sport, but and we saw that too. And I think also too that the fact that we had, and I think where sometimes we lost the Super Bowl. Obviously, you had Kansas City, who had the more experience playing in the big game as well, so that kind of played in the factor into it. But then again, like I said, we just got to play. It is what it is. Time to move on from that. But the fact that we got saw 3 in our lifetimes, I think sometimes we are very spoiled for what we are, especially in terms of the Eagles.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
We've actually seen more success than we've seen failures in our life.
Yeah, and the fact that you had the Phillies go to the World Series, the Union in the Cup Finals, Eagles in the Super Bowl. And
I didn't know what to do this year with all those teams in the big game. I did not know what to do. This is like the happiest moment in Philly sports.
Yeah,
was it with this year?
Even though, in a way, yes, it was. We were very successful, but then again, unfortunately, we crashed and burned. With all 3 teams, so unfortunately,
all 3 freaking teams crashed and burned.
That's just so unlucky. But like I said,
this shit sucks.
But look at the Phillies for example. Who expected them to go to the fucking World Series? I sure as hell fucking didn't.
Nobody did.
And the fact that we outplayed better competition. The Braves, who I thought were going to be not say really World Series favorites, but in a way, my sleeper favorites to get another ring. It's like people, it's just like, and the thing that's also still apply too. Once you have that like a bit of a coaching change, like it's going to have to, different results will show. I mean, think about it. I'm not going to say compare Doug Pearson to Girardi, but in a way, over time, when it's just like the latter part just was not working. But the fact that when we brought in Sirianni, in a way, kind of like Rob Thompson a little bit, different results showed. Guys played a lot better under like these young guys. I mean, think about it. Hurts, granted, yes, in his first full season starting, was okay. I will admit there was a lot of things he had to clean up on, which this year, oh boy, that was a huge jump in terms of.
Oh my God, he goes from a guy who barely threw the ball and ran a lot to a guy who was borderline MVP, like that.
And you go, and people are going to still make the arguments like, and I think this also apply, in a way I could agree, was AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown. I think we haven't had a number number one receiver in what feels like many years. I guess what I'm trying to say is we have not had a good number one guy since, let's be real, the days of Tio when he played really well in that Super Bowl with a broken leg. For crying out loud, the dude had a fucking broken leg. It put up over 200, was it 100 something odd yards receiving? I think it was on a broken shin bone or fibula. I don't know exactly what the injury was, but
I think it was like shin bone that was hurt.
The fact that that was broken and he put up over 100 yards receiving on a broken fucking leg, on one leg, like you can't tell me otherwise. Like, as I'm thinking to myself, like it's hard to really imagine a guy with a broken leg playing the way that he did in the biggest games of the year, especially in football. That still blows my fucking mind.
And then fast forward to 2017. Alshon Jeffrey played hurt in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He had like a torn rotator cuff or something.
Yeah, and he still balled the fuck out.
Yeah, and it's still won the game.
It's like, now I will admit, the game should not have been as close as it did. But, I mean, like I say, beggars can't be choosers. But Nick, and ever since then, the fact we had Nick Foles, let's be real, Nick Foles is a Philly legend. I don't care what anybody fucking says. It's much like, oh, you got McNabb, but yes, McNabb for his time, was, let's be real, one of our best quarterbacks of all time in terms of franchise history. I will admit that. But you had Nick fucking Foles, who unfortunately got the short end of the stick through Chip Kelly, which is very unfortunate. Didn't really do much since leaving Philadelphia. Comes back to Philly, wins him a fucking Super Bowl, and obviously, well, and I think also before this, I decided this man needs we need to have a statue built outside the link. Then lo and behold, what do? We built him a Philly statue.
And it was him and Coach calling Philly.
Probably one of the best Super Bowl moments of 2017.
Bro, this is one of the best Super Bowl moments ever.
And the fact that, because remember, the Patriots tried to pull that earlier, and that completely failed. I think in a way, it was kind of a bit of a rub it in the face of Tom Brady a little bit, in a way that we actually pull that off a little bit. But regardless, so if look, I would gladly see Nick Foles retire as an Eagle. Dude, there's going to be an Eagle regardless.
Yeah, he's going to retire an Eagle. I don't know if he's going to be in the Hall of Fame because he ain't worn in it, but
if he's going to be,
his career doesn't warrant that. But I do think that he's in the Hall. Yeah.
But it's Eagle like, Hall. But yeah, the Eagles come a long way since let's be on the 5 years, and let's be real, it's been, like I said, it's been some ugly moments, sure, but we got, could have had multiple, but like I said, we said beggars can't be choosers. Outside of that, I got nothing else to add, other than the fact that I'm really proud of this team. Of especially took only 5 fucking years to get back to the Super Bowl. Like that's like what? It's just like,
but now with all these free agents coming in, do we see them in the Super Bowl next year? We don't
possible. Know. We don't know yet. So
we don't know. We don't know if it's even possible. We got to see what happens on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's hard to go. It's hard to win a Super Bowl, but it's harder to go back.
I mean, think about it. Not just from our perspective. I mean, look at the teams that haven't been to one. And I mean, Cincinnati. I mean,
it's harder to go. It's harder to go. Period. To the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, you have to really beef up your team and play really well to get that journey, and it is what it is. But knowing what the look into the next schedule, though, but like I said, only time will tell. Not just for us, for all the 32 NFL teams. Because there's pretty much a race to the Super Bowl. Like, who wants it more going into 2023? But I had nothing else to add because I think we pretty much got everything covered for this week. Because man, I thought, in summary, I thought we were going to be fucking bad. I was going to be. I was like, oh fuck, are we going to go through this shit again? But the fact that Howard decides to say, nope, not on my watch. I'm not making that mistake again. But the fact, like I said, kept the core four, kept Slay and Bradbury. Lost some pieces here and there, but we still managed to get the replacements.
Yeah, I really don't think we lost that much in hindsight.
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah. I mean,
because it was like in 2017, it was like in February we lost people. Then March we lost people. Then April we lost people, and then we just kept losing people and losing people and losing people and losing people.
So I was like, oh god.
Here we only lost maybe a few guys in February,
and a couple of scrubs, and that's pretty much about it. And
a couple guys that were just backups.
Yeah, but the fact that, like I said, the key word was depth. How he actually has more he can work with. But with that being said, though, that's going to wrap it up for episode 10 of the Eagles Top Podcast. We'll be back at it again in about 45 minutes for Friday Night SmackDown with our boy Rafael Chassin on the panel as well.
Oh, yeah. Our boy Rafi.
But outside of that, like I said, I got nothing else to add other than go Birds. Cannot wait. See what 23 holds up in store. Other than the fact that, and shout out bring up what's good further.
What's up, brother?
I know you kind of caught the back end of it, but appreciate anyone who actually came into the chat though. While we just talked some Eagles football for the last hour and 15 minutes. Tyler, any final thoughts before we get up out of this bitch?
2 words: go Birds.
Yep. Outside of that, hopefully we'll see. Hopefully hope I'll meet some of y'all most of the Eagles content creators out tailgates, because let's be real, I got to get my ass to the link at some point in the season, but that's here nor there. But with that being said,
good luck, because prices are ridiculous at the link for games.
But now we have SeatGeek to help us out with
even
that.
With $20 off, Rob, you're not gonna get any good tickets with SeatGeek.
Well, we'll see. Then
That's
again,
the problem. That
can't be worse than Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster. Let's spend over $1 billion. No.
But yeah, but outside of that, me and Tyler, we'll see you guys on SmackDown.